Raise your hand, please. Yes, that's my sister girl. You know, it's one thing when your family supports you, but when someone else is willing to push you from the bottom, when you're at the very bottom level, before COVID got started, she offered me an opportunity. I'm not going to speak on it yet because when these things blow away, we're still going to do it. But I just honor her right now because she believed in me in this. And when it's all said and done, this is going to be becoming true, and she's partly responsible for that. So thank you. I love you so much. Also, to my parents, you right, because they're filming, so they can't do anything, but these two right here are my parents. That's 50 years of matrimony right there, guys. They don't make it like that anymore. But thank you so much for coming and always supporting me. And last but not least, to my boo. He has loved me for over 30 years. He has wiped away my tears, encouraged me when I couldn't encourage myself. He loves me, but more than that, he loves God. He is absolutely everything I prayed for. 6'3", 242.5 pounds of dark chocolatey goodness. Honey Bear, will you stand, please? Oh, okay, my bad. God always said you're supposed to speak those things that aren't. But all y'all look for him, so you are in agreement that he exists. So thank you, Father, in advance.
She ain't crazy. She don't have good sense.
He said he was really looking. Me too. An agreement, touch and agree, yes. Okay. My scripture reference for today is John 1:6-8. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. This man came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. Amen. Today I stand here as the light. Not as the light, but to bear witness of that light. So the theme is serving as one with a giving heart. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a giver to a fault. That leads to the title for today. I'm not just anything. I'm a contact tracer for the Department of Corrections, which means if you work for us and you come in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID, I'm the one that calls you. A few months ago, I called a staff member trying to tell him about an exposure. He was being difficult, asked who I was, asked if I was a nurse or a doctor. I told him I'm neither, that I was an analyst. He said, oh, so you're just clerical. Y'all, when I tell you he's still rethinking his entire life for saying that sentence to me, I said, sir, I'm a contact tracer, yes, but I'm not just anything. He continues going back and forth with me, being more insulting and annoying with each comment. He tells me he works in medical. Mind you, I'm looking at his file. I can see that he works IT in the medical building. So he continues to be confrontational, so I finally tell him, sir, I'm only sharing with you the information that's privy to me. The people with all the alphabets behind their names, those are the ones that make the rules. I merely pass them along. So he starts to laugh at me and says, well, how do you know I don't have a PhD? Yeah, I was looking as baffled as you guys are looking at me right now. And thankfully he couldn't see me because I was over the phone. But I said, I don't understand, sir. I don't know what you mean. He said, well, you said only people with a bunch of alphabets behind their name could have the knowledge. But you don't know that I don't have any. Some of you guys that know me already know where I'm going with this. So what I told him was, you're absolutely right. I don't know you. And you don't know me. But the alphabets that you're referring to, if we were having this conversation, would be an MD, not a PhD. But since we are talking about a PhD, I am 5 courses shy of having my PhD. I'm sorry. I'm just a few courses shy of having my PhD. I also do not list my alphabets behind my name. I don't think it matters, nor should it. I don't feel like titles should be the reason why I treat someone a certain kind of way. I still give my all to this position that you just labeled as just. I assure you that when I get my remaining alphabets, I will still treat people with the dignity and respect they deserve, regardless of the title. I don't care if you're a warden or an inmate. You deserve to be treated with respect. So the next time one of my colleagues call you, please remember that, sir. Thank you and have a lovely day. Listen, how many of you know that it's not what they call you, but what you answer to that matters? The same holds true when people call you names. Loser, stupid, ugly, just. Remember what I'm telling you. Don't you dare answer to that. It ain't your name, it ain't your title, and it ain't your truth. So when I got divorced for the second time, I see y'all judging me. Yes, I got divorced for the second time, but I was left responsible for every single bill that we had. Let's just say our parting was not a nice one. Nevertheless, I did what I had to do. I put on my big girl pants, and I made it work. Fast forward a few years later, and I had to apply for what I thought was my final financial aid application, and it gets denied. And I'm thinking, surely this has to be a mistake. But it wasn't. There was a bill that I had from my divorce that got sent to collections. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and bash my ex. That ain't this type of story. But in case you didn't know, you cannot apply for financial aid if you have a mark on your credit. So with only 5 courses left, I get kicked out of school. And how many of you know that God is still a way maker?
Yes, he is.
As the great evangelist Bruno Mars said so eloquently, if you don't believe me, just watch.
Just watch.
So I'm devastated. How can I get this close not to finish? How many of you know that he didn't bring me this close just to bring me this close? One day I get a random message in one of my group friend chats, and one of the girls is asking if anybody needs any help with their credit. She's willing to help them for free because she needs the experience. So of course I'm all over it. I don't think there's anything she can do, but I'm willing to do anything at this point. She agrees to work with me and writes only one letter, y'all. One. She sends me a message telling me that I might hear something from the lenders, and when I do, to let her know. Then a few days I receive a letter, and all I see is it's forgiven. As my former pastor would say, y'all want to shout now or wait until later? I couldn't believe it. I assumed she already knew, so I called and thanked her. She was like, wait, what? Screenshot me the letter, Leah, because it should have been a settlement agreement, not anything just saying forgiven. Surely you misunderstood something. I start to get sad because I ain't gonna lie, I didn't read the whole thing, y'all. I saw the words forgiven and everything. So I sent her the picture and she says, oh my God, girl, it's forgiven. It says it's already been removed from your credit. And my spirit won't stop shouting. I said, what did you say to them? She said, I didn't do anything. I sent a standard letter. How many of y'all know God will show up before the storm? So I called the school and I asked if I could come back. They tell me everything that I need to do in order to get back, but unfortunately I still had to come up with $6,000 due because the funding ran out while I was still enrolled in the course. So I'm thinking, no problem. Financial aid will cover that when I get back in. Wrong. I can't make this stuff up, y'all. Financial aid said that was a different funding year. They can't do retro payments. I'm a 4.0 student with only 5 courses left. And once again, I'm stopped. Y'all do know that delay doesn't mean denial though, right? But I'm sick about it. I'm praying and crying and praying. And I share with a few friends for prayer, not for pity. And I'm confirmed that, or I had a friend call me and ask, are you really not going to be able to finish? He had heard from my mother, and I confirmed that what he heard was true. And he says, I need you to write me your story from beginning to end, surrounding everything, the credit, the divorce, your GPA, everything, and get it to me ASAP. They asked how long I had in order to get back in school, and I let them know, I think it was a couple of months, like 3 months maybe. A couple of weeks before the final date, I get a text from that same person, and they asked if we could meet. I said, sure. Do I need to bring anything? And they said, yes, an armored truck. They handed me multiple checks from various people and organizations totaling nearly $5,000. And before you ask who it was, no, I'm not telling y'all, because you're not going to treat them like they're a genie in a bottle. That's not the point of this journey. But what I didn't tell you was that I didn't need the full $6,000 to re-enroll. I needed to come up with at least 60%, and they would bill me for the rest. So I took pictures of every single check, emailed the school that day as proof. I'm sending you these checks in UPS tomorrow. It'll be there. Fast forward to current day, and I'm about to start my 4th week of a 10-week program for my last academic course in the program. God did all that, y'all.
That's good.
Sometimes in life, we're in circumstances a lot longer than we want to be. Think about Lazarus. Remember those sister girls, Mary and Martha?
Yes.
They were mad as hornets at God because they believed Jesus failed the mission since he allowed Lazarus to stay dead for days. Jesus rolled up and they were like, you have one job, sir. And now look at him. He's dead. And not only is he dead, but he's stanky dead. How many of you feel like our current situation is lasting way too long? Think about it. I heard a comedian say that COVID is a full-blown toddler now, y'all. And he was so right. COVID is leaving its terrible 2s and moving into those treacherous 3s and daring you to do something about it. I know we've had some of those famous words saying, okay, enough is enough. Or is it just me? Because I'm so over COVID. Well, guess what? Just because your circumstance looks dead, and it may even start to stink, God still has the final say. He did it for them, and he can do it for you. He can raise that dead thing in your life, y'all, and remove all appearances of death and leave no residue. I thought school was dead, but he raised that thing, y'all. Yes, he did.
Amen.
Not all of our wounds are blamable. Some of them are self-inflicted. I know talking about COVID vaccines are touchy, but listen. The fact is, if you don't want the vaccine, it's your God-given right. But please educate yourself on the ways to remain healthy. I was watching Chicago Med one day, and there was a pregnant woman on there that wasn't vaccinated because she didn't want it. She didn't know what it would do to her baby. That's fair. However, she was highly anemic and needed a blood transfusion or she would die. She said the only way she would accept the transfusion is if they could prove to her that nobody vaccinated was donating the blood. Needless to say, she ends up denying the transfusion because they can't verify that, and she dies. She avoided the vaccine because of what it might do, and ultimately committed suicide. Self-inflicted. Guess what, y'all? I just had a post-op to a dentist appointment, and I realized I had no idea what they were using. All I cared about was don't let me feel it. I woke up, I got the meds they prescribed, I had no idea what was in those antibiotics, I have no idea what was in the anesthesia or the narcotics, nor did I care. I swallowed every one, set an alarm to make sure of it. Why? I wanted the pain to stop. I wanted the bleeding to stop. I wanted the discomfort to be minimal. Well, that's how I see COVID. It's hemorrhaging out of control. And people at first, we didn't want to wear the mask, and then we didn't want the shot. Well, guess what that toddler said, y'all? Okay, let's do this then. And just like any other toddler, it's destroying entire households now. But the transfusion got me thinking about another transfusion, the blood of Jesus. Now that blood is available to us all, but not everyone is accepting it either.
Right.
And guess what? He's not forcing it on you either. Right. But when life causes you to hemorrhage, just know he is still standing by your side, waiting for you to accept the transfusion. He does not make you sign a waiver or a release. It doesn't matter what your blood type is, because he's got that good, as the young kids say. His blood is truly better than any O negative, because it really is universal. One drop fits all. And it doesn't even make you put a tourniquet or stick a needle in your arm. No. He just requires you to say, I believe. I was at the blood donor's office and saw this man hooked up to this crazy machine, and I was like, what is that? And the text starts explaining it's called a plasma donation. So to do that, they have a needle in each of your arms, and they're removing some bad stuff from this side and taking out what they need, and then they're re-putting the blood in on this side. I sat there and I watched the blood work. Guess what? How many of y'all know his blood still works? You don't need any machines or devices. He just takes all the dirty stuff that we surrender and wraps his loving arms around all that mess and returns it back safely, and we're brand new. Didn't take hours to do it. Didn't have to sit and wait 20 minutes before you can use the newly restored blood. Oh no, immediately you are made new. Now, what you do with it is up to you. But that alone is enough to shout. Y'all don't hear me. I said no snack was provided when they pierced him in his side. No chair was provided when they put that crown of thorn on his head. No colorful bandage is wrapped around when they nailed him to the cross. He was beaten. He was worn out. He was brutally murdered for us. And all he asks is that we confess our sins and believe that he is the I am. In spite of all I've been through, I know my ending will far surpass my beginning. Same holds true for all of you. Repeat after me. My ending will surpass my beginning. You ever watch a movie and you're just not feeling it? You start thinking it's taking too long, it's just too slow. So you walk out the theater. And a few days or weeks pass and everyone's talking about how great the movie was. And then what do? You go back and have to start all over and watch the movie again to see what you missed. Listen, I'm here to tell you, in life, don't give up. Don't you dare quit, because it seems like your story is taking a bit too long to get to the good part. Spoiler alert, the best is still on the way. Even if you have to start over in order to fully appreciate that thing. But the ending didn't change just because you started over. The results are still the same. It just took a little longer to appreciate what's manifesting. Just because you didn't see it right away doesn't mean it isn't there. Here's another spoiler alert. I've seen a glimpse into your future. It was like a trailer from the summer's next box office hit. And you know what? You win. Come on, divorcees. You win. Come here, college dropout. You win. Come here, teen, pregnant mom, drug addicts, any alcohol addictions. You all win. Convicted felon, you win. And you're better than all of your worst days. You are not just anything. Whatever you think had you in bondage, I'm here to bear witness. You are free. I am free. We are free. Thank you.
Amen.